Welcome to Secrets Out Idaho. Each week, we let you in on the secrets of Southern Idaho and speak to the people who make it such a unique, hidden gem. I'm your host, Connie Stouffer. On today's episode, we'll hear how to make money instead of debt when going to college, tips for getting involved, and how a trip to TJ Maxx made one recent graduate know that Twin Falls was where she wanted to be. When we speak to Idaho native, lover of the outdoors, and College of Southern Idaho student body president, Sammi Sanchez. She'll share the best events to go to, her favorite spots, and why community colleges are the best place to get your start. Sammi Sanchez, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm really excited to talk to you and learn more about what you do at CSI.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to tell you a little bit more about it.
Of course. So I'm just going to have you start by telling me a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am from Southern Idaho. I grew up in the Boise area. I was born in Nampa. I lived there for 18 years until 2 years ago. I moved here to the Magic Valley, and I've lived in Twin Falls and been going to CSI. I'm studying political science and criminal justice, and my goal is to become a lawyer. I do want to travel around, live a couple other places, but ultimately my goal is to end up back in the Magic Valley.
Awesome. So what drew you to CSI in the Magic Valley from the Boise area?
So I think that the biggest thing is honestly just how beautiful it is here. I remember I was in the TJ Maxx parking lot with my mom and I was just overlooking the canyon, and all I could think was, wow, this is very impressive. And then, we went down to Centennial Park, saw the Snake River, Shoshone Falls, all the surrounding areas, and Hagerman, the things to do, Burley. And so I just felt like it was a really good fit here. I love outdoors. I love being out in the outdoors, paddleboarding, kayaking, being on the water is my absolute favorite. So going to a school where I can drive 10 minutes and be right next to the Snake River and do all those activities, it just seemed like a good fit for me.
Awesome. Yeah, there's not too many TJ Maxxes with that kind of view.
No, there's not. It's definitely different from the one in Nampa.
That's awesome. So tell me about your experience going to CSI. How's that been for you?
I've loved going to CSI. It was a little bit challenging moving from a little bit bigger of a city. I was surrounded by Boise State, NNU, CWI, and then coming here to a smaller school in a smaller town. CSI is actually smaller than my high school. So it was a little bit of a culture shock, but once I grew an appreciation for it, and I realized how special it was, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. From the get-go, I've been very involved. My first couple weeks at CSI, I decided I wanted to run for student senate. Then I joined on to diversity council, sustainability council. I got a job over at the dorm. So I've been very active student at CSI.
Do you think that's what makes you help appreciate it is being so involved, so you get to learn more about all the different facets of CSI and the community? Is that, you think, what's kind of helped you along the way?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I think when you have more of an insider perspective, you grow an appreciation for it because you truly see how much work goes into every little aspect. When you're just a typical student going to class and going home, I don't think you see all the underlying work that goes into every program that we put on at school, all the different events, the different student services that are offered. You take advantage of them and you think that they're just there, but you don't understand where those actually come from.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about some of the programs. So if someone might be thinking about coming to CSI as a student, what are some of the things that they might be able to enjoy there that you think are kind of special?
So as the Senate, we oversee 7 different councils that are responsible for providing an array of student services. So you can enjoy events from going to jump time for free or
awesome.
Going to a huge Dia de los Muertos party that's hosted by Diversity Council, Sustainability Council. One of my favorite events that they've done has been, it was a reptile show, and they brought over the reptiles from the Harris Center and then had frozen yogurt from Kiwi Loco. Oh, it was just a really cool event.
Yeah.
Our student leaders on campus are very creative with the different activities that they come up with. And, there's many different events you can enjoy. There's something for everyone. We have the program board that hosts those big events like Jump Time, movie theaters, and then the smaller councils that host the more, I think they're more unique programs like the reptiles, or we've done like taco sustainability tacos, like taco about sustainability.
Oh, that's a clever idea.
To discuss different ways that our campus can be sustainable while enjoying tacos.
That's awesome. Yeah, the reptile show, they just had cabin fever days at the Harriet Center, so it was like a community event, and they had the reptiles out at that. And so I actually went to that, and it was super neat. They had all sorts of different snakes and reptiles and things that you could learn about and things like that. It was super cool, and I've always thought that it's cool that CSI has a planetarium. Not very many campuses have a planetarium, which is really cool.
I didn't know when I first came to CSI, I didn't know we had one. And then I was looking at, things to do in Twin Falls, and that came up, and I was like, oh, that's like a 2-minute walk. I'm going to go over there. And I went in and I was like, wow, this is really awesome. I've been to many different events over at the Harriet Center. They do different lectures. They have the reptile review where they invite the community to come learn about all the different animals they have there. Cultural events to learn more about Native American and ancient cultures. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I'm interested to learn more about the Diversity Council. CSI's student body is fairly diverse, and so maybe if you could talk about a little bit about that.
Diversity Council to me when I first joined was really special because I did not realize how diverse even not just CSI but Twin Falls was. So last year on Diversity Council we participated in many different activities. We hosted the Dia de los Muertos party where we invite the community to come celebrate the more of the Mexican heritage. They also help put on Hispanic Heritage Month where the mayor of Twin Falls comes and reads a proclamation about the Hispanic Heritage Month. We've worked with different refugee communities helping to get them to help transition them easier into our community here. And I think that's one of my favorite parts about Diversity Council is everybody is from somewhere different and we've all had an opportunity to learn from each other. At one point I remember being like, wow, this is really cool because I was the only American in the room.
Really?
Yes, there were people there from France, from Congo, from Afghanistan, Syria, it was Russia. It was so cool.
That is really awesome. I imagine like so many different cool ideas that come about for different programs, and just I think when you get a diverse group in the room, like whether it's ages or origins or whatnot, it just kind of creates creativity, I think, probably.
It does. And, they've done studies to show that having a more diverse group leads to more diverse thinking, more creativity, more productivity when you're bringing in all these different perspectives. But Diversity Council does play a large role in education as well on our campus. So they help educate in our student union building about Black History Month, the suffrage movement, all those different aspects that come from the marginalized communities. They do a good job at bringing those to light.
That's awesome. And so now you're student body president, which is really exciting. What made you want to run for student body president?
So I loved being on Senate last year. I really feel like I found, I guess, my calling. So I want to study politics, or I am studying politics.
Was that something you knew you wanted to do before Senate, or was that something that was born out of being on Student Senate?
I knew beforehand. Yeah. Originally, I wanted to do it to kind of, I guess, learn and experience what it would be like to hold a public office and work with other elected people. But I ended up loving it. I signed up to be the liaison for public relations. And so I did all of the media for CSI. I would go do the news interviews and the radio interviews. And I absolutely loved it. And I was like, I want to continue doing this. And I actually sat down with our public information officers and I told them, I really don't want to leave doing this PR stuff, but I also am wanting to run for president. What do you think? And they told me, go for it. It's just a new opportunity for you to experience a different side of public relations. So instead of working just with media now, I'm working a lot in person with people.
That's awesome. So it sounds like you've been enjoying your new role.
Yes, I have been. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me about, you told me a little bit about why you wanted to move to Twin Falls, but tell me a little bit about some of the things that you've had an opportunity to do that you've enjoyed that maybe in Boise's, like, landscape-wise isn't that much different. I mean, they don't have a canyon like we do, but you can still, there's green belts and things like that makes Boise fun, and you're certainly not new to Idaho, but tell me what it was like moving to the Magic Valley area and some of the things that you took advantage of doing since you've been here.
It felt more like an adventure here.
Yeah.
So, in Boise, we have the green belt, we have the big parks, all that stuff, but it's all paved, it's all
urban.
Landscaped.
Yeah.
Yes, it looks very much like a city. Yeah. Where here, you're climbing in the canyon and going off trail, exploring. Yeah. That's what it felt like was an exploration here. Yeah. I love how rugged it is.
Yeah. We had someone in our office move here from the East Coast, and she commented after, she was like, there's no fences anywhere. Like, you can go like wherever you want. And I hadn't thought about that before. And I was like, yeah, I guess there aren't fences.
Yeah, you can just roam here.
Yeah. Which it is kind of wild and rugged here, which is kind of awesome. So it sounds like on the water stuff is some of your favorite things to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about those opportunities.
So my favorite things that I've done here on the water has been paddle boarding. I love paddle boarding. It's a great workout, but it's also very relaxing. Yeah. They offer it through CSI, like a sunset paddle.
Oh, fun.
And it's a breathtaking view. It's
down from like Centennial Park, or
yeah, so you go from like Centennial, I don't remember how far up you go, but I think you go up towards the bridge. Yeah. And they do that, and they also have different like yoga on the paddle boards.
I am not that coordinated.
Me either. I would fall so quick.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Those things, I like just exploring down by the river. Mermaid Hole in Jerome has been one of my favorite places to go.
I've heard it's super beautiful. I haven't been there yet.
Oh, you have to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's super fun. So tell me more about like life outside of school. So when you're not at school and you're not on the water, what are some fun things that like maybe you or your peers at school like to do outside of school?
One of the things I like doing, and we used to do it a lot with my friends when we had a little bit more time, was to go to downtown Twin Falls. It's so cute.
Yeah. They've done a really good job on the renovations down there. It's really fun.
They really have. This winter you go down there and they had the Christmas lights and the ice skating rink. It feels very like a community down there. Yeah. I remember it was one of like my first weeks in Twin Falls. We just went up and down like the little shops, and we got to know like on a first name basis a lot of the shop owners. Yeah. And it's really cool because now I know, I think it is more incentivizing to go into different businesses when you have that connection with the owners. Yeah, for sure. I think small towns, it's like it's nice to be able to get to know the people you see every day, and then they'll see you come back into the store later and they'll remember you, and it's really nice and kind of comforting to have kind of community no matter where you go in town. It is, and just the whole vibe down there, I guess, is really cool. Yeah, because you go around the area, and it's a lot of farms, dairies. Yeah. And then you get to downtown Twin Falls, and it's like, whoa, it looks like a little city down here. It was definitely surprising when I first saw it. I didn't realize how modern and updated it would look, because in our Nampa downtown is very like desolate. A lot of there's a lot of empty businesses there. And so to come to this little downtown where everything is thriving was really exciting. Yeah, that is for sure exciting. So you mentioned after you finish school, you plan to come back to the Magic Valley. So I wonder, because we're experiencing a lot of growth here, but Boise's like going crazy. Booming. Yeah. And so like, what makes you want to come back here as opposed to maybe going back to the Boise area? I think, I was in Boise just this last weekend. It was a little overwhelming for me. Even the growth where I've just been gone like 2 years has been pretty substantial. And I think just like when we were talking about the community, getting to know everybody, eventually I want a family, and that's what I want them to grow up with, is that small town Idaho. Yeah. The small town Idaho. Yeah. And I've found like in my life, in my career growing like from college onward, I found, at least for me, that I've had more professional opportunities in smaller towns. I feel like sometimes when you're a young, fresh graduate and you go to a big city,
you're one of many, right? And I think
Yes.
that there's more opportunities to get involved in like committees and organizations, and even to be able to have more opportunity, like senior opportunities and organizations as a young graduate in smaller towns. And so I don't know if you've noticed that as a student being so involved in the community or not, or if that's been a difference or change for you.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the things I've kind of feared on going on to my next school is it going to be this easy to make these connections and these relationships? One of the things I enjoy here is everybody knows everybody. So if you ever are in need of something, somebody's going to know someone who can help you with that.
Yeah, you're
and
only
really
like one
that.
person removed from anybody.
Exactly. Everyone either knows each other or is related to each other.
Yeah.
But I've definitely experienced that. You know, I think back to just talking. I had an idea for CSI, and I was able to just I saw Sean, our old mayor, at a community event, and I just got to stand there and talk with him about it. And that's not something I would get to do in Boise, is just walk up to the mayor and be like, hey, I have an idea for CSI, and then actually see that idea be implemented and put into action.
That's awesome. Yeah, the elected officials here are super approachable. They're regular people who really care. And Sean has been really great. And I know we have a new mayor now, and she's going to do really fantastic, I think. But it's nice to have that connectivity, I think, to people, to leadership, and to have them actually listen and care about ideas outside of kind of that political realm. You don't see that in other places.
No, and I mean, even it was like the night after she got elected, she already sent an email to follow up on some of the things that Sean and I had been discussing.
Oh, really? Yeah,
so
that's awesome.
It's been great, and we were laughing too. She's one of my professor's aunts.
Oh, really?
And so we were laughing about that. Everybody is related to everybody here.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I'm curious, what was the idea you suggested?
So one of the things that we wanted to do was involve the community more in the CSI homecoming week. So after the conversation with Sean, he actually recommended doing another proclamation. And so we're hoping to have city council either come out to our homecoming game or at one of our homecoming programs to read the proclamation and declare it like the official CSI Spirit Week.
Yeah. So what are some ways that people, that maybe the community could be more involved at CSI? I think sometimes people think like CSI activities are for students and faculty maybe, but not know how to, if they're a community member, how to support or engage in those.
I would say if you are wanting to get involved at CSI as a community member, probably go 3 different places, and that would be our rec center, the Harris Center, and then also the fine arts.
Right.
So those are all different, I guess, entities of CSI that are very community focused. So any of the events at CSI that students can go on, community members, they do have to pay a little bit more because they don't pay tuition. But they can go on any of those, like the paddleboarding trips. They go on, they went to mountain biking in Utah. Community members can go to that. And then the Harris Center, they have a lot of educational opportunities, especially for younger students, like in elementary school. And then fine arts, you know, they love to promote to the community all the different plays and different musicians that they bring to campus. Those are exciting, and I would, if you don't know about them, follow the Facebook page, follow the Instagram page. They're really good at updating the different events that come along to CSI.
Awesome. Yeah, the outdoor rec program has so many cool things, like the ones you mentioned. There's like rock climbing, and there's lots of, it's very social too, it seems like. So if you're new to the community or just want to get out and meet new people, it's probably a great way to make new friends and find a new hobby that you really love or something like that.
It is. And that was another kind of selling point to CSI for me, was their outdoor rec center. I remember they were giving me my tour of CSI, and they were telling me about this mystery van tour they do. So you pay $5, they give you like a packing list, load you up, and don't tell you where you're going.
Oh my gosh, that's an adventure.
It definitely is.
So where did you go?
I haven't had the opportunity to go on one.
Would you know how often they do those, or?
Not sure how regularly they do them.
We'll have to check it out and try to share it in our post, because that sounds like a lot of fun.
It is. It's really cute. They advertise it with like this Scooby-Doo mystery van.
Oh, yeah. That would be awesome. So if people are thinking like they're maybe thinking about going back to school, or maybe they've just are getting close to graduating high school and are thinking about going to school, and maybe they're not from the Magic Valley, why do you think they should maybe consider a community college over maybe a 4-year college to start with, or maybe CSI in particular out of community colleges?
Well, for community college in general, I think that those 2 years, those are just a great opportunity to transition. It can be a big change going from living under your parents' house, having them pay all your bills, reminding you to do your homework, to being this whole adult where you have to be responsible for all those things yourself. And in the community college, like we were talking about, those different connections you make, you're able to get help everywhere you look, and it's a lot more intimate. So you can get to know your professors on that one-on-one level.
You're not in a class with 500 other students.
Exactly. My biggest class I think I've ever been in has been like 25.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
It was like a humanities 101 class, and there was maybe 25 people in there. But I've had classes that have been as small as 3.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, like the one-on-one assistance you're going to get with that professor is going to be so much more than you would get in any other kind of setting.
Absolutely. And I was talking to a friend about it. So that class I did only have 3 other students in was one of my classes for my major in political science. And that professor, I've got to know her pretty well. Whenever there's an election, you know, she's like, hey, are you going to come work this one with me? Or if there's different political events around the community, I've gone to her with those. She's invited me to go. I haven't had an opportunity to go yet, but she's invited me to go to the Rotary Club with her.
Oh, you should. I'm in the Rotary Club. Well, there's a couple different Rotary Clubs, but they're all great. So you should go.
Choose one of them and go. They're all good.
No, so that's super exciting. I actually majored in political science when I was in college, but I went to ISU, which is a great school, but it was a lot bigger, and I had great professors, but I don't think they had the opportunity to like one-on-one invite students to go to like political events or things like that. And when I had gone to those were some of the best learning experiences, to have like one hands-on experience in your field and to really get an idea of what it's like to run a campaign or to go knock on doors, and like those types of different things are really exciting.
They are, and you really can't experience that in a classroom. I think one of the most meaningful opportunities that my political science professor has helped me with is she referred me to a program in Boise called New Leadership, which is a program. They nickname it like a political boot camp for women who are interested in pursuing politics. Oh, cool. And that was one of those, it sounds kind of cliche, but life-changing experiences.
Really? Yeah.
It really was, and I never would have been able to do that without the help of my professor.
No, that's awesome. And I think I'm a big advocate of women in politics. I think that's great that there's a program out there and that she's connecting people with that program. That's really awesome. And that you had a chance to go. Tell me more about that program. What was that like?
So that program it was maybe like 5 days. It was just under a week. I lived on the Boise State campus in their student apartments with other women who were interested in studying politics.
Are they usually like college age students? Or are they all ages? Or
they are college age students. Yeah. So I was one of the younger ones as a freshman going. I think the majority of them were juniors and seniors. So they were between like ages 18 to maybe 25. Yeah. We did have a woman in there who already was married, had kids. Yeah. She was a non-traditional student, so it was really exciting for her to get to participate in this. Yeah. But what we did is we spent the first couple days just they got everything in our heads, how the legislation process works, who our representatives are here in Idaho, and then in our local area as well in Ada County. And then we learned all that stuff. We took different notes. We heard from many different guest speakers. That's how I've gotten to know many of our representatives here in Idaho, is through those panel discussions. And then on the last day, we took a trip over to the Capitol in Boise, and we ran a mock committee hearing. And so I was on the committee, and I got to hear different testimonies from citizens. There were people who played a lobbyist that they came and and lobbied to us throughout the week.
Yeah.
And then we had committee sessions where we would really dig through the bill, interpret it, analyze it, if we need changes, if we're going to pass it, if we're going to approve it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really just putting everything that I had seen in the textbook into action.
That's awesome. That's such a cool program. And so amazing that that's available to students, and I'm glad you got to participate in that. So from your experience with that program, but also just being involved in the community and in your studies of political science, what are some tips you could give to people to be more politically active? I think we're in like a little tumultuous global time right now, and people care a lot about particular issues but may not know like the most effective way to have positive change. What would you say are good ways for people to get engaged?
I think that understanding how accessible here in Idaho our representatives are, realizing, you can call them, you can shoot them a letter, you can send them an email, expressing your opinions, and also being involved in any activism groups that you are passionate about. There's quite a few well-organized groups throughout Idaho that you're able to join. They do different rallies, different fundraisers, different events, and I guess just realizing what's out there and realizing that it is accessible, because I think a lot of times we see it on TV and it's like, wow, I would really like to be a part of that, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as following that group's Facebook page and seeing when they're meeting next.
Yeah. That's awesome. So are there some things that you're championing as president of the student body, like initiatives or programs at CSI or in the community that are particularly passionate for you?
I think the biggest thing right now is our homecoming. So we've had like a more traditional homecoming in the past, and in the last couple of years that's kind of fallen through, and it's been placed on like the entire responsibility of homecoming has been placed on two people.
That's impossible.
It was so, I can't even imagine. Our alumni coordinator and then our assistant athletic director last year were responsible for putting everything together within 2 weeks.
Yeah. Of course, that's not going to go as well. Yeah.
And so I got connected with those people in the summer, and I brought them this idea about, hey, what if we did another student-involved homecoming? And they've been really awesome and supportive from day one. Their departments have contributed a lot, and then they've also kind of given me that guideline to take the students with it. So in the past few years, they've done primarily alumni focused a homecoming, and I really wanted to bring students back into that. And so what we're working on doing is having student programming throughout the entire week, to have all the 7 different councils host a different event for that week leading up till the big game day. And then on the game day we're gonna we have sponsors who are helping us give away a scholarship for a free class.
Oh, fun.
Or I know they're doing like a door decorating contest for the different departments for, it's like 2 nights at Cactus Pete's or something. But they've really helped me take this idea I had at the beginning of the summer and just blow it up.
Yeah.
And I've been so appreciative of everybody who has helped.
Yeah.
And I think that would probably be the biggest focus of this year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what I'm gonna do after homecoming, because it's been like since summer that we've been planning through this, and that has been my biggest initiative. And then really bringing back unity between our councils, because I think sometimes we feel like such different entities when we are really under the same goal. Our goal is to provide services for students and create the best possible environment and experience for them. So really bringing us back together and helping to collaborate with each other on enhancing that student experience.
Yeah. That's awesome. And one of the things you mentioned was about the scholarships, and I've had a chance to work a little bit with the CSI Foundation, who are fantastic. But there are so many scholarships available to students, and they basically said, you just need to apply. There's so many opportunities. So if someone's thinking like, geez, I can't afford to go back to school, CSI is an incredible option, because one, it's really affordable already, but there's so many scholarships available to students. And so I don't know if you have anything to share about that, but they're such a good group, the foundation.
Oh my gosh, I wish I could make my own podcast about that, because I have so much to say about it. There is so much money out there. You just have to go get it. And at CSI, the scholarship application is like 5 questions. It's so easy. I pay $0 at CSI. I've actually made money going to school at CSI.
Oh my gosh.
From that CSI general scholarship, and then also from being involved. The money just adds up, and now it's like I don't have to worry about paying for my financials now, and I can save that money for when I go to a university that might not have as many opportunities. But the CSI Foundation, they're fantastic. They don't just do scholarships. If you need help, like say your car broke down and you can't get to school anymore, you can apply for an emergency fund where they can help you pay to get that repair. Or if you can't afford childcare to go back to school, they have scholarships that will help fund your child to go to like our early learning center or a preschool
which is amazing.
lab.
It's like the best in town. It's such a good program.
It is.
Yeah, so that's so amazing, because I think so many, it's like a big thing right now about people dealing with student loan debt and they have got it for decades and decades after they finish school. And if they could just go to CSI and like, or probably, you know, if they're not in Idaho, I'd encourage them to come to Idaho and come to CSI. But there's community college options everywhere that are a lot more affordable. But here, if you have an opportunity to come to CSI and apply for scholarships and save on tuition for those 2 years, it sets you up so much better for when you graduate and like are going to go on to like another career or go on and get another degree or go buy a house and start a family, to not be saddled with so much debt and still have a really quality education.
And that goes back to what you were saying with the high schoolers. I wish I could go to every single high school in Idaho and be like, you guys don't understand how beneficial it is for you to start at a community college. Because
I wish I had known that.
Exactly. And I didn't really consider all of the benefits of going to a community college. I kind of just chose one because I liked Twin Falls. But going back, I wish I would have told others about it. It doesn't seem as, I guess, big or exciting as a university.
It's so good.
It is, and all those opportunities are there, and I don't think that people realize that it's like a campus. And that was one of the things I talked about the very beginning of the year when I first started as president, is we are a community college, but we don't feel like a community college. We have athletics, we have on-campus housing, we have different student leadership opportunities where they're putting on programming for the students.
And the campus is so beautiful. Like it's so green, and there's like the little river that runs through it, and there's like, it's just a gorgeous campus no matter where you go. I
brought my friend from Boise State to come visit, and we were walking around through the Rose Garden, and she was like, you go to school at a park. I'm like, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, it is so gorgeous. And I think too, when people are in high school and they're thinking about going to college, it's got like fraternities and like huge football game. Like they have like at least that's kind of what I imagined in my head. But like when I went to a 4-year college, and like I didn't do hardly any of that stuff. I was involved in like student government, and I went to class and I worked. And I think if you focus on like the quality of education you get, the money that you're going to save, and the community that you're going to have around having smaller classes and getting to know your professors and the administrators and people that are on campus, you're going to have such a rich experience in going to a community college that I think you're right, a lot of people don't realize. Yeah, you definitely are. And I mean, like you said, you're getting the quality education, you're making those connections, and you're still having a lot of fun. It's really fun to go through campus and be able to say hi and like say know everybody's name. Yeah. It's unique, you know? Yeah. You see the bigger schools, everybody's just walking through, doing their thing. Yeah. But it just feels more intimate. I think that's like the best word to describe it. Yeah. And I think a great opportunity for non-traditional students too. Maybe people were going to, college or something and had to stop, and now it's time for them to go back, or they want to go back, but now they're thinking like, well, geez, I have childcare I have to take care of, or these other barriers. And if they reached out to the CSI Foundation or enrollment and things like that, they'd learn that there's probably things to assist them in getting over those hurdles so that they can go back to school. There are, and I think of 2 people in particular that are non-traditional students who have really had an impact on me at CSI, and seeing how being able to go back to the school has really changed their lives. I have a friend, she has a very difficult background, she has kids, she
college wasn't in the scope of things that she thought she was going to be able to do.
Yeah.
And now she's back in school. Her kids are over at the preschool lab. She has like a 4.0. She gets great scholarships, and she's really having that opportunity to turn her life around.
Yeah.
And I've met a couple people like that, and just hearing the stories of non-traditional students is absolutely mind-blowing, because you don't understand how many barriers some people have to go through in order to do something you got to do right out of high school.
Yeah, and I think you're right. So someone maybe who comes from a background where like their parents didn't have an opportunity to go to college, maybe nobody in their immediate family has ever gone to college, so even just the concept of them going is so another world for them that it's hard for them to take those next steps to try it. But when they do, it's transformative for their lives, and I'm sure for their own like self-esteem too, realizing that they were able to do it.
It does, and I hope that for those people, they are able to pass that legacy on to their children, and their children are able to pursue higher education in their children, and they really just start a generational trend of it. Yeah,
that would be amazing. Are there any other programs or things? I feel like there's so many things at CSI that like we could go on for ages, but I don't even know. So are there things about CSI that I haven't asked you about, or programs or councils or things like that people should be aware of, or things they should check out if they're coming to CSI?
I would say to check out our athletics.
I
really like our athletics, and that was one of my favorite parts to do the advertising for when I was working underneath public relations. But we have a great basketball team. Our volleyball team, they were national champions last year.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. All of our athletes are also great students. We have baseball, we have softball, we have track.
You even have rodeo.
We have rodeo,
which is wild.
Rodeo is awesome, and they do really well.
Yeah.
I know we've had. I think they placed. I can't remember what she placed, but I know one of the rodeo girls did place nationally.
Yeah. And the track team's really good and getting better. Yeah.
Their coach is like training for the Olympics.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of. That was one of the things that's unique about our community college, is how much emphasis we put on our athletics.
That's nice, because you can have a well-rounded experience as a student, particularly if you're a student athlete, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it is. And, going to the games and hearing the pep bands and the dancers, it's a lot of fun. Then you get your big school, I guess, experience at our games.
Yeah.
As a student, it can be kind of frustrating, but looking back, it's awesome when our student section gets filled to the point there's no seats.
Yeah.
It's exciting, I'm sure, for the athletes to see how many of their classmates are there to support them, and then everybody else in the community seeing how hyped up we are about our athletes.
Yeah. So maybe if you gave you like a top 3 things, like, so if you're coming to CSI, it's your freshman, it's your first semester, where are like your top suggestions for them to get involved, whether that be like student government, or how can someone get plugged in as you are, because I feel like you're doing everything.
Definitely join a council.
Yeah. So is that something that anyone can do, or do they need to run for a seat to join a council?
The only one you have to run for and campaign is Student Senate.
Okay.
2 councils that you are hired to them. So the ambassadors and the program board, they hire their members at the beginning of the year, but like diversity council, sustainability council, and then any clubs, those are open access to anybody. And that's where I first started, was diversity council. That's where I got my foot in the door.
Yeah.
So starting in maybe one of those smaller councils, and then if you're wanting to get more involved, working your way to a larger one, I think that's a good place to start.
And then we always ask everybody on the show their secret spots. So that could be just like things to go do in the area, good places to eat, or whatever is like your fun thing to go do. What's something that if someone's new to Idaho, they should definitely go check out?
I would say Mermaid Hole. That's like my favorite place to bring people who are not from the area.
Yeah.
Hiking down there. They actually, if you go on the like Auger Falls Trail, you can go to this little bridge that's like abandoned.
Yes. So
How
do you get to Mermaid Hole? Is that not the way you go? How do you get to Mermaid Hole?
So if you just go over the bridge, headed from Twin Falls to Jerome, the first light, you just take a left there, and then you turn left at the golf course, and you go down.
At Blue Lakes?
On Blue Lakes.
At Blue Lakes Country Club, or at the Jerome Country Club?
Jerome.
Okay.
And then once you get there, there's a little road at a stop sign that says if you turn left, it's a dead end.
Okay.
But at the end of the dead end, there's a parking lot you can go to and then hike down there.
Okay, awesome. that is good to know. Now I know how to get there.
Yes.
Now it's not going to be so secret anymore, and I'm sorry.
I saw it on another, it was like secret places to go in Idaho. That's one of the places I found it. I think it was one of the radio stations who posted it. We went down there and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, Auger Falls, and that bridge is super cool. I've been to that bridge, that little abandoned bridge there by Auger Falls. And that's a fun hike with a waterfall and the river, and it's super pretty.
It is, and it's not too bad. You don't have to be extremely into hiking to be able to do it.
It's a wide trail. And some people mountain bike down there, I know, and so it can be lots of fun. Awesome. Well, Sammi, thank you so much for being on the show. It was super exciting talking to you, and I love all the things you're doing on campus, and excited to see all the amazing changes and what you do with your political career as you move on through school.
Thank you so much. It was fun being here today.
Of course. Thanks for listening to Secrets Out Idaho. You can follow Southern Idaho Economic Development on social media or visit southernidaho.org to learn more. Please take a moment to leave a rating and review and subscribe so you can be the first to hear more Secrets Out Idaho. Until next time.